Breaking news! Russia invades Ukraine. Here's how this could impact track and field globally and World Championships 2022. Welcome back to the channel, people. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for making it Peter Lloyd World. Go ahead, please hit the subscribe button. When you do that, go and hit the notification bell so you know when the next video drops. We drop a video at least once a day, every day here on Peter Lloyd World. Also, if you enjoy our product, please hit that like button and finally leave a comment. What are your thoughts on the invasion of Ukraine by Russia? And more importantly, do you see how this could impact global track and field as well as the World Championships, well, the highly anticipated World Championships 2022 to be held in Oregon in the United States? Are you ready? Yep, good to go. Now, this is not necessarily a subject that we would normally speak about here on Peter Lloyd World. First up, let's say our condolences to the people of the Ukraine, our condolences to the innocents who will be slaughtered and or killed in this horrific conflict. And let me state quickly that I am not a political pontiff, nor am I a political analyst. As a fan of track and field, I'm simply telling you how I believe this conflict could impact the track and field world. So let's acquaint ourselves with the facts as reported by the BBC World News. Ukraine conflict, Russian forces invade after Putin TV declaration. Russian forces have launched a military assault on neighboring Ukraine, crossing its borders and bombing military targets near big cities. In a pre-dawn TV statement, Russian President Vladimir Putin said Russia did not plan to occupy Ukraine and demanded that its military lay down their arms. Moments later, attacks were reported on Ukrainian military targets. Ukraine said that Putin has launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Russia's military breached the border in a number of places in the north, south, east, including from Belarus, a long-time Russian ally. There are reports of fighting in some parts of eastern Ukraine. Is Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Whoever tries to interfere with us, and even more so to create threats for our country, our people should know that Russia's response will be immediate and will lead you to such consequences that you have never experienced in your history.
At the time this report was written, about 10 civilians are believed to have been killed. I'm sure it has increased since then, including 6 in an airstrike in Brovary near the capital Kyiv. A man was also killed in a sheltering outside a major eastern city, Kharkiv. I hope I pronounced that correctly. The Ukrainian president advisor said that more than 40 soldiers had died and dozens more were wounded. Ukraine said it had killed 50 Russian troops and shot down 6 Russian aircraft. That has not been verified. Now, as this assault was taking place, in fact, the United Nations Council had met in an emergency meeting late last night or very early this morning. And the president of the Attorney General of the United Nations made an appeal to Vladimir Putin. Of course, the Attorney General is Antonio Guterres. Here he is.
From the bottom of my heart, President Putin, stop your troops from attacking the Ukraine. Give peace a chance. Too many people have already died. Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, as alarming and almost preposterous as this is, that any army could be invading another army in 2022. I mean, after all, this is not World War I or II. It's almost frightening, and it says a lot about leadership globally. However, like I said, I am not a political expert. I am here to talk to you about how I think this could impact track and field globally. Once more, my heart goes out to the innocent in this conflict. In fact, my heart goes out to anyone on any side of this conflict. Loss of life is preposterous. As I said, people, I'm not a political analyst. I am just a person who loves human beings and love track and field. So let's talk about how this conflict can impact the track and field world. Now, before I get into that, let me say this. Ukraine is not a part of NATO. Now, if you don't know, NATO is a group of states who have basically come together in defense of each other. It was formulated after, I believe, World War II, sometime after World War II. The fundamental idea behind NATO, people, is this. If you attack any member of NATO, all other NATO allies have to literally respond almost in kind immediately. Ironically, the Russian President Vladimir Putin chose Ukraine and has been having a conflict. Remember, I don't know if you know this, but he did annex parts of Ukraine in 2014. This has been going on for quite some time. When he did that, Ukraine did not have a standing army. So the truth is, NATO does not have to respond in kind because Ukraine is not a part of NATO. Had he invaded a NATO, let us say England or Germany or something, we probably would be in a full-scale war as we speak. We would have woken up in a full-scale war. So this is a very important part of what I'm discussing. In other words, there's a high possibility that this war could be localized, meaning it could stay within the boundaries of the Ukraine and Russia. It may not spill over. And I would suspect, regardless of his tough talk, Mr. Putin is not an idiot, and I'm pretty sure that he doesn't want to take on NATO. Well, certainly not yet. This is just my opinion anyway. So the truth is, if this is the case, there's a high possibility that this will impact in the sense that this will destabilize the region, that region of Europe into Africa, because I don't know if you know this, but where Ukraine is, it leads into both North Africa as well as into Europe. You probably don't know that Russia borders Asia, Africa, and Europe. It's a huge place. So how do I think this will impact? I'm sorry I had to take all this time to give you the backstory, but I just want to give you some basic backstory without any prejudice. Clearly, any athletes from that part of the world will be directly impacted, and I am very certain that Russia will be sanctioned by both the Olympic Committee, the IAAF, and probably World Championships. Now, ironically, they had just allowed 33 Russian athletes to compete in the Winter Games. If I'm incorrect, please correct me, people. So I'm pretty sure that as a part of sanctioning, they are going to again punish these athletes who have nothing to do with this process. So that's the first way it will impact Russian athletes and persons. Obviously, Ukrainian athletes, etc., will not be able to compete in any major international track and field. And like I said, I'm very, very sure that the IAAF, the Olympic Committee, the World Championship body will ban, or if this invasion or incursion continues, they are going to sanction Russia and restrict their athletes. 1. 2. The other obvious thing is if this escalates and is not globalized, in other words, localized. So in other words, if the NATO states like the United States, England, etc., physically attack or themselves enter the Ukrainian border to defend Ukraine against the Russian presence, then this will very quickly escalate into a global conflict. Now, seeing as how we're just coming out of COVID and its impacts on us globally, particularly economically, I don't think most countries would like to do that. So I suspect they're going to go the route of sanctions. So number 2 is if this escalates into a global conflict, track and field as we know it, World Championships, will have to either be very restricted and or stop for the period of that conflict. But I believe good sense probably would prevail. And as I said in my first point, because Ukraine is not a NATO country, this may be localized. It would be a little insane of Vladimir Putin to attempt to go beyond the boundaries of Ukraine, because then definitely we would see ourselves into a global conflict. The third manner in which this could impact us, obviously, is that you may or may not know this, but Russia supplies 10% of the natural gas and oil to Europe. Now, if the conflict continues over just in the last 24 hours since the incursion, the price of oil has gone up to over $100 a barrel, which is the highest it's been in many years. Clearly, what this is going to do is this could create a strain on many economies, and as the longer the conflict continues, the fact that Russia supplies this 10%, which is a huge amount to a massive area, it could and probably will drive the price of both natural gas and oil up globally. And that will have an economic impact on most countries, and therefore countries that are not superpowers or the G8 countries, the wealthier countries, may be impacted, and that could lead to less athletes being sent to the World Championships and or to other regions where there are going to be track and field events. So those are really the three primary reasons, primary possible impacts of this present incursion. Like I said, if it remains localized, it will not impact the rest of the world, particularly the Western world, as much as, but this is still, like I said, a sad day in humanity. I would have hoped that we would have gotten to the point as human beings where we were able to use our words. You know, we're not babies, we're not children. We should be able to sit down and speak. But then, of course, the generation of persons who are leading the world tend to be people at a certain age who come from a different time, and they don't realize that the world around them has changed. For me, on a personal level, I have no idea why these incursions take place. I have an idea as to what they are. By the way, this is we're looking at the premier of Ukraine, Volodymyr Polinsky. So there you have it. This is our 2 cents. This is how we believe that this could impact. These are three, of course, very simplistic and basic points. We hope that this incursion does not escalate beyond the borders of Ukraine. And in fact, more importantly, I personally hope that this ends immediately and that there's a solution, because innocent people are going to be hurt. And we're talking about women, children, men, elderly. This is just insane. But as I said, I am not a political analyst. I'm only giving you, as a track and field fan, how I think this could impact us. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so we can continue to grow here at Peter Lloyd World. Remember, when you do that, go in and hit the notification bell. Now, the goal for the subscriptions now is 20,000 subs. We'll get them with your assistance. So please hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you know when the next video drops. We drop a video at least once a day, every day here on Peter Lloyd World. Also, if you enjoy the content, hit that like button. And finally, leave your comments. Let me know what you think. As I said, I'm no great political analyst. I'm simply giving you my opinion, how I think this could impact the world of track and field as we know it. One more time, I want to say my heart goes out to the people of Ukraine. And the truth is, my heart also goes out to the people of Russia. Because we all know many of these things, the general public have nothing to do with the decision making, and it's always the leaders doing this stuff. You are kings and you are queens, your greatness personified. Believe in yourselves. It is essential at this point that you remain positive. Do not panic. Take deep breaths. We will all get through this, and pray for these people. Their innocence. They do not deserve this. And let's hope that both sides come together in love and peace. Bless up.